So we're on Facebook Live in Healthy Friends, and we are recording. So I'm going to ask Chuck to take it away.
Thank you, Mitzi. I want to introduce my friend and client, Jason Canberra. Jason has an amazing story. He's in the middle of his journey right now in the weight loss phase and going swimmingly. And he's got some scale and non-scale victories to share. Jason, you're on mute. Hold on. Unmute.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. My first time here, so I'm a newbie. But how you doing, Chuck?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. So I have, I've been doing the Optavia diet since I think the end of October, and I hate calling it even a diet because to me it doesn't feel like a diet at all. I've been on so many different diets that this doesn't even compare. This is more of a, I don't know, it's more of a, I don't want to say a way of life, but it's been a really major stopgap for me. I've had really good success. I've lost over 50 pounds, lost 4 pant sizes. Recently, I think I was telling Chuck recently that the most important thing for me was that, without the obvious feeling good about myself because I'm much skinnier now. I'm in my pant size from high school, which is great, being 56 years old. But I went and had my blood work done at my doctor's office. And for the first time that I can remember in probably 20 plus years, every single category of my blood work was within the normal range, which was very exciting for me. It was exciting because I was actually pre-diabetic and taking metformin and all that stuff for diabetes. And I am now off all of that. So this is, to me, it's been unbelievable. I've been on so many diets before that, came and went. And I always felt pressured from these diets too. I felt like there was a time period, like I had to, if I didn't lose so much weight in 30 days, it wasn't a success. Or if I lost 20 pounds and I felt great, but then I put 30 back on. This just doesn't feel the same to me. This diet that I'm doing, the Optavia plan that I'm doing is, I don't know. It's so different. I don't feel rushed. I don't feel pushed. I feel like I have control over the whole thing. I can mess up for a couple of days and I can get right back on it and feel great and lose the weight again. I don't feel like I have any, like time restrictions. I feel like this is just really like helping me change my life. It's helping me rethink about food, rethink about how I do things, and how I control my own eating habits, which has been fantastic. So I'm excited about it. I wake up every day excited about it. I feel good every day. I've been on it since the end of October, and I don't know. I feel like it's part of me now almost. It's kind of weird to say. It's kind of like I look forward to it every day. I can't, I enjoy the bars and the shakes and all the foods that go with it, and I enjoy experimenting and playing with it. But I really enjoy the results as well. So I'm not done. I'm as far as I'm concerned, I'm just beginning. I'm 50 pounds down. I want to lose probably another 20 before I even start thinking about transitioning. But I'm looking forward to the transitioning period as well. But I'm feeling good, and I thank Chuck for all of his advice and support. He's been great to me. So it's I don't know what to say. It's been fantastic. I'm happy to be on it, happy to be participating, and really encouraged by the whole thing. I simply can't believe that I'm no longer pre-diabetic. I'm doing well as long as I stay in the plan and keep the course and keep my weight down and keep exercising and do what I'm doing. It's a life-changing event for me. So I couldn't be more happy.
That's an awesome story. And it's the non-scale victories that are really the most impressive.
Absolutely.
Really. All right. Now here's the funny part. Your baby brother called and said, "Hey, my brother's smaller than me. Help me." So I'm now coaching his brother.
It was funny because I actually told him about 2 months ago. I told him what I was doing, and he's like, "Yeah, I might look into it at some point, right?" So then about a few weeks ago, I actually texted him, say, "Hey, guess how much I weigh now?" And I was like 20 pounds less than him, and he's like, "No way!" So he really jumped right on it, and he's in. So he's full on. He actually texted me today and said, "I'm placing my second order today." He said, "I'm going in full," so he's ready to go. So
awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Well, congratulations to you, and hopefully this is a trademark for the rest of your family.
Absolutely.
All right.
It's been great.
So I am going to screen share. All right, so why did I pick this topic? So the transition, we were talking about it earlier, just chatting before we officially kicked the meeting off. Just about, the biggest question my clients have and the biggest concern they have is, am I going to rebound? What's this transition? And is it going to be hard? I'm afraid to start transition, right? How many coaches out there have heard their clients say, or how many of the clients are like, I'm afraid of transition. So please, Chuck, help us out with this. It's really simple. It's really simple. It's really straightforward. You've got all the references here. I include them just, for completeness to make this easy for everybody. But the transition is pretty straightforward. So there we go. So what is it? It's about 4 to 6 weeks, and you'll see why on the next slide. And it's between your weight loss phase, right? You're on the 5 and 1, the 4, 2 and 1, whatever's appropriate for you. And you're in that weight loss, you're in a mild fat burn, right? And now you need to move to what, other programs move you to what they call maintenance. Well, we don't do that. We move you through a transition and then to an optimization phase. And why is it optimization? Well, because you're looking to always continuously improve your health and well-being. We're all on a journey. I've been off the weight loss phase for over 3 years, but I still have health and wellness goals that I'm looking to achieve every quarter, whether it's yoga or physical strength or stretching, whatever. And we're all on an optimization journey. But in between that and getting from weight loss to optimization is the transition. And it moves you through all of the variety of foods that you chose to sacrifice or to give up during the weight loss phase. And you start slowly add those things in, one thing at a time. And it keeps your metabolism high. And that's really the key. You're looking to make sure that metabolism stays high, you're adding the foods in slowly, and that your body has time to adjust to each of the foods that you're adding back in. And that's why it's so critical. So you're in a fat burn in the 5 and 1, and you start to come out of that when you start the transition. Many clients will lose weight during the transition phase. My wife lost a few pounds during transition. I think I lost 1 or 2. So it's really a way to keep that metabolism high. So this simple chart is in your book. There's a link to it, but it's on page 23 of the guidebook. It's really simple. It's not complicated. You're on about a 850 to 1,000 calorie a day program, right? On the 5 and 1. You're having 5 fuelings. You're having a lean and green. So what do you do in week 1? You add 2 more vegetables. And the key there is it's any kind. So the 7 or so vegetables that you chose not to have that are higher in carbohydrates, like the potatoes, carrots, corn, peas, edamame, Brussels sprouts, and butternut squash, you can have those, right, during this week. And you should start to integrate those so that your body adjusts to those higher carbohydrate vegetables. Have 1 of those a day, 2 of those a day, etc. But you're still having the 5 and 1. All you're doing is adding 2 more vegetables. So maybe you do that at lunchtime, because having 5 vegetables with your lean and green at dinner is just overwhelming. Maybe you start to split your lean and green and have some of that at lunch, have some of your protein at lunchtime. Maybe you take the mashed potato fueling and do what I do and make a stew out of it and throw 2 vegetables in it. It's fantastic. There's all kinds of, you can add it to the chicken soup, you can add vegetables to it, etc. But all you're doing for a whole week is you're doing what you've been doing for a month, 2 months, however long you've been on the 5 and 1. And all you're doing is adding in 2 more vegetables a day for the whole week. Easy, right? 1 step at a time. So don't overcomplicate it. The next week, you do what you did in week 1. And you take a fueling away. So you drop down to 4. And you add in 2 servings of fruit. And, you know, there's a guide, but, you know, it's a cup of, you know, cubed fruit, it's berries, you know, a small piece of orange or apple is a serving. And you simply, let's say 9:30 in the morning is when you have your mid-morning fueling. Maybe replace that with an apple, right? And just do that for a week. Or maybe one day it's an apple, one day it's half a banana, one day it's, or maybe you take some of the berries and put them in with your shake in the morning, right? And that's one of your servings of fruit. And you start adding, you know, the fruit in. Week 3, and you notice you're going up slowly, about 100 calories on average a week is what you're increasing. You stay with the 4 fuelings, but you do what you did in week 2, but now you also add a cup of low-fat dairy, whether it's Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, whatever it might be. So you're starting to increase your calorie count without counting calories. You're starting to include more of the dairies, the fruits, etc. Right? You should be out of fat burn at this point because you've added the higher carbohydrate vegetables, you've added the fruits, and then you move into week 4, and it says 4 to 6, and we'll get to that. But week 4, you're down to 3 fuelings. You do everything you did in week 3, but now you're adding 4 to 6 ounces of lean protein. Should say protein there, and 1 serving of starch. So the starch might be quinoa, farro, you know, brown rice, you know, things like that, whole grain bread, etc. But the lean protein, 4 to 6 ounces, well, that's pretty close. If you take your 2 vegetables and you take your 4 to 6 ounces, you've got kind of a lighter lean and green for lunch, if you will. And it's a real easy way to think about it. It's the way that worked for me, right? I did a lighter lean and green for lunch, and I stuck with my lean and green for dinner. And then I simply added 1 serving of starch with that. You know, I added my fruit to my shake in the morning, or I had a piece of fruit in the afternoon instead. And there you go. So now you're at that about 1,000 to 1,550 calories a day, right? So you still may be in a calorie deprivation for the amount of energy that you're burning in a given day. And, but we're not really counting calories yet. So this is where we start to do that. So you take this is your new way of eating, right? Work with your coach, stick with your coach. I can't stress that enough. This phase is so important. Check in at least every week with your coach for each phase of this, right? And make sure things are moving along the way they should be. And they should, right? So then your coach will do all the math and science for you, right? It's not that complicated, right? But the bottom line is you're looking at what your energy expenditure is. How much energy are you burning, right? So, and I've got an example on the next page that we'll walk through. You look at your physical activity level, and we'll look at your thermal effect of the food that you're eating. Well, this one doesn't change so much, the thermal effect of food. The basal metabolic rate doesn't, you don't have much control over that one either. You do have the control over the physical activity level, whether you're doing meat or eat activities, right? So, here's my example, right? I was 182 pounds when I started program. I dropped about 40 to about 142, and I leveled off at about 145. So that was my new body set weight, right? If I look at that, that gives me about 1,600 calories a day that I can eat and maintain if I'm sedentary. But I'm not. I do yoga 4 times a week. I ski. I do things. So I said I'm probably moderate. So I can probably have closer to 2,400 calories a day, right? But as we saw in the prior chart, at the end of 4 weeks, I'm still at 1,550 calories, right? Doing the extra 4 to 6 ounces of protein, etc. So each week, you simply add another 100 calories a day for week 5, and then add another 100 calories a day for week 6, and then add another 100 calories a day for week 7, and you'll soon work your way to, and you'll stay in that equilibrium, and you'll reach that total energy expenditure. And it's like, well, gee, counting calories sounds hard. Okay, you don't have to. It's really simple. An apple's 95 calories. Well, that's pretty close to 100. A small banana is 90. Well, that's pretty close to 100. You know, the blueberries is 85. You know, maybe it's 2 oranges, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. The Greek yogurt's pretty close. So most of these things you have as healthy options between your, you know, your meal times, right? If you think about it that way, they're all about 100 calories. So, you know, pick an orange for breakfast, you know, or for your mid-morning snack today, and the yogurt for this afternoon. You know, pick the banana tomorrow and the blueberries, and you know, with your shake in the afternoon or something like that. And you're going to get there without having to do much math at all. So, and you know, it's really important. Give your body time to readjust to that lower set point. And in case you need to catch yourself, that's your coach is there. Talk with your coach. It's not about being perfect. It's about making choices and making healthier choices along the way. So that's everything I had. What did I miss, other coaches, or what questions does anybody have?
Ruth has a question in the chat.
I have a question. So I thought that you're supposed to add 2 small pieces of fruit a day in the second week. And 2 small pieces is more than 100 calories.
Well, a small piece of apple is 100 a small apple is 100 calories, 95 calories. A small banana is 90 calories.
Right, but I thought you're supposed to add 2 small pieces of fruit a day.
Yeah, so in week 2, you're adding 2 fruits. That's correct. So that might be closer to 200 calories a day. Right, but after you get past that, now you're adding about 100 So when you get to week 5, then you're simply going to add another 100 calories more than you've added so far. I'm not sure.
Can I just add, so you're pulling out of fueling, right? So that's, you're down 100 calories and then you're adding 100 calories. So yes, you're adding 200 calories, but it's only 100 calorie uptick.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, who's less scared now than they were before? Thank you, Suzanne.
You know, Chuck, you're so right, because people are white knuckled when it comes to transition, right? And if you just follow it, I see nodding. I see Kathy nodding. I see some other people nodding, Peg. If you just follow it and trust the process, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I'll share a story. I have a dear friend of mine. She's 80, and she was on program a few years ago. She's like, I'm afraid. And she got to her goal weight. She lost 60 pounds. She was great. She's like, I'm afraid. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. And I said, don't be afraid. I said, she's like, I don't want to do this every week. Can I do every other week? Can I do 2 weeks for week 1 and 2 weeks for week 2 and 2 weeks for, and I said, sure, right? Why not? Right? There's nothing wrong with that. And we went at her pace, and she's maintaining just fine. It's about 2 years now she's maintaining.
I would say I've had some clients who have skipped this process and or tried to fast track the process, doing it a little too quickly, and they've actually end up putting weight back on. The process, this is just such an important piece of this journey, and it should be really taken seriously because of the science behind it. So that everyone had worked really hard to get to a certain place and to goal, and to not do this and add those foods in slowly and taking those fuelings away the way it's meant to be done, is you're you've worked so hard. We've all worked to add it. So it's just to follow it. Just do it.
I would add in that I can agree with that from someone who, I don't know if people know my story. I lost 75 pounds 10 years ago and didn't transition at all and thought, oh, this is a piece of cake. And here I am, put 75 pounds back on. And now I'm at that, yes, I am kind of scared because I'm about a month away again from transition. And it really does make a difference because the transition is teaching you what your normal day of eating should be, eating normal food again. And if you skip it and just go back to adding in what you feel like adding back, I think that's when a lot of people fail. So I know for myself, it's transition's probably almost more important than the diet itself, is what should you really eat without eating all the packaged food on a daily basis to keep yourself healthy for the rest of your life.
Correct. Well, make sure you work with your coach this time.
Yes, I sure will.
I'm her coach.
One of the distinguishing characteristics to me of our program is that there is a plan for transition. It's not just willy-nilly, do whatever. And there is a lot of science behind it. And I've had clients who skipped it, and I've had clients who did transition exactly like it was outlined. And the ones that did it like it was outlined, I just don't see them regaining. So we need to use the entire program, not just, as Jason was talking about earlier, it's not a diet, it's a life. And this is part of that transitioning into a different stage of life.
I had a client share with me today. She hit goal, went beyond goal just last week, and she was super excited. Then was having family and vacation. She was super scared. But she made it very clear. She was like, I was really scared. I was really afraid that I wasn't going to be able to do this. And I was just going to go, off the wall. She's like, I realized how much I learned in the process. And she goes, my subconscious choices were to still stay, low carb, high protein. I get a hamburger put in front of me. I got rid of the bun. I ate the burger. I portioned in my mind those vegetables. She's like, I never realized the training that has gone, over the last few months that I am now doing without really thinking. And so she was very surprised and happy at that. Because when we're in that structure, it's so easy, it's thought out. But when you're left to your own devices, you think, oh my gosh, I'm going to go off the rails. And you really don't. You fall back to what you remember. And that lean and green is our practice run. And it's what's kind of building us up to what we're going to be doing after. So she was really happy to see that she still made really good choices and felt good and maintained, her weight loss throughout her vacation and being with family for the last couple of weeks. So she was really happy to say, wow, this plan has taught me how to eat. And she was thrilled. And that's true. And that's what we can, be rest assured. I was scared too. And you just got to trust yourself and know you learned along the way. So.
Mitzi, are you going to put the link for
I did.
We did. Okay, great.
So if nobody has any other questions or anything, the Habits of Health call link is there now for March toward optimal health, I believe is what the topic is tonight at 8:30. And there's the link. And it was great to see everybody here. Chuck, thank you so much. Jason, awesome. Everyone here will do the transition when it's time. If you're in weight loss now, because it's going to make such a difference as you continue your journey towards optimization and living your best life. So we will see you all next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.